Chapter 6. Wisdom and Treasure. On the same day in the light of a half-moon, the air crackled with the scent of damp earth and blooming nightshade as Rufia and Godoy ambled their way back to the castle barracks of Bastogne. Their swords, a gleaming pair newly forged, hung at their hips like jewels adorned on a noble's robe. The evening hush settled around them, disrupted only by the soft clinking of metal and the rustle of their leather boots against the cobblestone. "Do you think anyone noticed?" Rufia asked, glancing over his shoulder as if expecting a scowl from the watchful guards. "Not a chance," Godoy replied with a grin, his finger tracing the intricate hilt of his newly earned blade. "Who would suspect the smithy's finest?" Their laughter broke the night's tranquility, but it was short-lived as they turned a corner and found themselves face to face with familiar figures, Walter, and Sigrid, his younger sister, who was wrestling with her own emotions. "Going to bed already, and without a tale to tell," Walter boasted, his grin wide as he motioned for them to join. "You'll love this. I got to work on leather today, made some fine clothes and armor pieces. Even got these brand new shoes as a reward." He held his foot up in mock offense, displaying his latest prize while Sigrid rolled her eyes. "I may have been stuck in the kitchen," Sigrid said with an exasperated huff, "but at least I know how to season a proper stew. The only thing Walter learned was how to dodge the scraps I threw at him." The corners of her lips tugged down, though her eyes sparkled with mischief. The joyous camaraderie didn't escape them long. Walter's question hung in the air, "And where have you two been?" "Off sharpening your skills, I assume." Godoy stepped forward. "We were learning to forge in the smithy. Our reward was these swords." He unsheathed his blade, catching the moonlight in a dazzling display. Walter clapped his hands together, pride evident in his voice. "Well, isn't that splendid? What are friends for if not to help each other?" But Sigrid crossed her arms, feigning disinterest. A hint of envy flickered over her features, like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Swords are all well and good, but cooking is a skill too, if only someone appreciated it." Godoy's gaze softened as he turned to Sigrid. "I promise, one day, I'll make you a sword of your own. It will be the finest in all the land. But you'd need finesse for that, wouldn't you?" Walter said, his playful spirit relentless. "Maybe Godoy prefers the art of cooking instead." As Walter's teasing words hung in the air, Godoy's cheeks flushed crimson, the warmth spreading as quickly as the laughter that infused the night. Rufia exchanged a knowing glance with Walter, both trying to suppress their amusement, but it was like trying to hold back a tide. Before Godoy could muster a retort, Sigrid's fist flew through the air with unexpected precision, connecting solidly with Walter's face. The laughter turned to gasps, and Walter stumbled back, meeting an unfortunate rendezvous with a patch of horse manure that had been conveniently left on the cobblestones. In an instant, the tension shattered like glass, and the night erupted in laughter. Godoy, crimson-faced himself, doubled over, while Rufia wiped tears of mirth from the corners of his eyes. Walter lay on the ground, chuckling with dazed disbelief. "I didn't mean to get punched by the competition," he wheezed, still giggling, though a light splatter now adorned his cheek. As the laughter began to fade, they arrived at the barracks and said their farewells, ready for another day to come. The night crept in like a whisper, wrapping the world outside Rufia's window in a veil of darkness. He lay in his bed, shrouded in silence except for the sporadic crackle of the fireplace that fought to stave off the chill in the air. Yet, there was little warmth in Rufia's soul. The night was his enemy, a thief of peace, a demon that brought forth the ghosts of what he had lost, his beloved wife and the young son. The nightmares had calmed a bit over the weeks, always with the same ending. But this time, the dream was like never before. Rufia could feel the heat of the flames licking at the walls of their former home, hear the echoes of desperate screams. In his dream, he sat frozen, watching as his wife and son crumbled in front of him, blood staining their clothes, their eyes wide with betrayal and anguish. Their voices were a cacophony of blame, ringing in his ears like a storm. It twisted his heart, reopening wounds that had yet to heal. Suddenly, the harsh reality of their suffering faded into an all-consuming darkness. A voice rose from the shadows, low and melodic, reverberating through the void. "Do you want them back?" it purred. Each word wrapped around him, slithering deeper into his mind. "I can give you your heart's desires." The seduction of the voice was powerful, drawing Rufia in, a moth captivated by an alluring flame. But just as he felt himself slipping towards the darkness, a sound intruded, the soft whisper of a woman's voice, tinged with urgency. "Wake up!" With a jolt, Rufia broke from the spell and bolted deeper into the darkness. His heart raced, the echo of that sinister laugh, a promise of his potential demise, followed him. Finally, he awoke in a cold sweat, shaking like a leaf in a storm. He gasped for air, the remnants of terror still gripping his heart. Once he found some semblance of stability, Rufia stumbled out of the barracks, feeling the weight of the night press down on him. He needed to cleanse himself, of the sweat, of the nightmares, of his guilt. He made his way to the nearby pond, the water glistening in the moonlight like shards of broken glass. As he submerged himself in the cool water, he tried to wash away the visions that haunted him, gasping as the icy liquid enveloped him. When he emerged, shivering, a figure stepped out of the shadows. Rassiquin, the priest, stood silently watching him. There was an unyielding intensity in his eyes that spoke volumes without uttering a single word. He gestured for Rufia to follow, and like a leaf caught in a current, Rufia obeyed. They walked in silence through the dense night air, the path winding towards the chapel nestled on the outskirts of the training grounds. The heavy door creaked upon their entrance, echoing through the empty chambers. Rassiquin lit candles, their flickering flames casting dancing shadows on the stone walls. "You know I have reports from your superiors," he broke the silence, his voice steady. "There have been complaints, noises during the nighttime by other recruits. It seems it isn't getting better, is it?" Rufia felt his throat tighten, heavy silence stretching between them. After a moment, he poured out his heart, the weight of his past spilling forth. He spoke of the nightmares, of the pain of his loss, the relentless feeling that he was to blame for their deaths. When he recounted the latest dream, Rassiquin's expression shifted to one of concern. "That last nightmare, it's a cause for worry," Rassiquin said slowly. "It feels as though a test is being put before you. We are mere pawns in the gods' games. You must not lose yourself in this. Be mindful and don't let the allure of power deceive you." Rufia nodded, the gravity of those words sinking deep. "But do you know what was in my dream?" The voice, Rassiquin's eyes darkened, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "I do, but I won't disclose it now. Should these dreams persist, come to me. Start working on your heart and mind. Strength is not just a gift from the gods but a hard-earned armor forged in the fire of our struggles." With those words, Rassiquin turned towards the flickering candles, looked at the small collection of books and said, "There's still some time before dawn. If you want, you could read a book." Rufia's brow furrowed in confusion. "I can't read." Rassiquin's expression shifted instantly, the realization washing over him. "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that." An idea sparkled in his mind. "But I can teach you." Rufia's eyes brightened, and he beamed with excitement at the offer. "Really? You'd do that for me?" "Of course," Rassiquin said. They settled down together, Rassiquin guiding Rufia through the basics, their whispered conversations mingling with the soft crackling of the flames. As the minutes slipped away, Rassiquin introduced Rufia to letters, forming words on the pages of a worn book he had salvaged from the library. But the dawn was creeping closer, the sky outside beginning to lighten with shades of pink and gold. "You should keep this book," Rassiquin said, placing it in Rufia's eager hands. "Consider it a gift. We'll continue these lessons whenever we can, all right?" Rufia nodded eagerly, his grip tightening around the book as if it were a precious treasure.